How are you all doing? You alright? So today is basically just a get together with all the Sheffield and other local podcasts to try and get us all in one room and get us all talking, because when I started Breed, it was mainly because I was travelling the country on my own and with a couple of days with David, and he used to drive me all over, and I used to think no one in Sheffield likes wrestling, it's just me and David, this is everyone. So I thought I'd set up Breed, and then I found out all these little podcasts that came out around Sheffield, so I thought why not get everyone together and then just talk some wrestling on WrestleMania Sunday.
Economical, yes.
Yes. So the first podcast today is Graps and Claps and Bill and Sugar Dunkerton. To my right, these are two students from Sheffield's Howard University. I was Cash Morgan, web stewards and facilitators for today. So let's introduce the stage, Graps and Claps.
Tall enough.
Afternoon, everyone. How are we? Good stuff. So yeah, just to introduce ourselves quickly. I'm Andrew, probably one of the main voices on Graps and Claps. Probably pissed up half the time as well. I've got Mr. Sugar Dunkerton. Hi, Sugar. Hola. Hola. Got Mr. Chris Wilson of. You might have seen his work on Twitter with the workings from the bill.
Set to Rascal theme music. Every single one fits. It's incredible.
You're the one that does that?
Yes, that's me.
I knew it was going to be a good day.
And on the end is my brother, Jeffrey.
Always pissed.
Well, you know, £4.50 at the moment, Guinness. How's it ranking? Oh, what are you on, Stella?
We're in here, it's very nice, yes.
Very nice. Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. So what we're going to talk about in general in this 20-minute section is about chanting in general during shows, and a bit of clapping. Like I'm known on the circuit, you might hear a silent spot here and there, and then bang! Yeah, that's me. So sorry.
Is it not me falling over?
Yeah, probably
falling
asleep,
that,
Jeff.
yeah.
He generally does that during
Yeah,
during
I've had some cracking nights in.
So yeah, with chanting. What made me think of this subject was we were over in Chris and Jeff were over in Germany for the Bobby Guns and Absolute Andy match. Now, it was just constant chanting for like 20 minutes, and I heard people like after the match like saying, some of them liked it, and then some of them said, I bloody hate them Brits.
Oh, Lord forbid somebody have like a good time at a wrestling show. Oh, okay. Yeah,
I know.
Kill yourself.
But like just that, I was thinking. I seen like the Devlin and Walter match, the second one, and you just see the crowd like so invested in the match and like, no, like, let's go Devlin, let's go Walter. They're actually focused on the action, and it just made me wonder, like, well, yourself, Sugar, being a wrestler, how do you feel about how do you feel about the like the old chanting thing? If the crowd are not really paying attention to the match and just try and make chants on their own, and
like it's cool to me. Like I'm big in investment in a match, you know. So like the thing that really touched me in a huge way, because like I mentioned, like my particular one is y'all took the Archie song, Sugar Sugar, and you did it for me. I haven't heard that song since The Simpsons, so that was cool. I'm glad we brought that back. But like, especially in America, like you get so used to it's the same old, this is awesome, fight forever, which is a very selfish chant. Because I have things to do. I don't want to fight forever. I have a Netflix queue to get through. I have food to do. You know, so that's very selfish. That said, you know, boo, yay, all that other stuff like that. But there's like a whole different kind of melody. Like, you know, you go here, like there's chants and there's songs like you're at an actual game. And I love it. Like, on all personal preference, I'm about it. I love it. I like when people treat it like it's a concert. It's cool. I get, because I've worked in Japan too, how they're silent at points because they do that as a respect thing because they want the athletes to be able to think about what's going on, and then once the sequence is done, they do a polite clap and they move forward. I respect that, but the rowdier the better. So I'm all about chanting. I don't understand when people get so upset about it because it's a wrestling show. It's gonna be loud.
Yeah,
It's gonna happen.
I think the thing with the especially the Bobby Guns and Andy match was they did it in October, like the year before, with Bobby Guns and Ilya Dragunov, and it felt more like a natural reaction that people were doing it, whereas WXW was sort of like forcing the issue, like on Bobby Guns' promo saying the fans chanted for me for like 20-25 minutes,
Okay.
and they were sort of like forcing the issue.
Ah, yes. Carnyism in wrestling.
Yeah.
So yeah, like in that case, like if you're trying to force it, like let's be real about anything in life. Like it's not. This is a bigger metaphor than just wrestling. Like anything that you have to like force, it's not good. Like it's not good. Like the best things are always the natural things that happen. Like that was real stuff. Like I remember when y'all were at Preston and y'all were the instigators of this.
The road to glory.
Yeah, and I was really touched by that, man, because y'all were going. Some people in the back weren't happy because when you got like 8 minutes and 7 minutes of it, it's like dancing and singing. It was like a remix on the match. Like, yeah, but it's like, it's good. It was a natural thing to happen. So like, yeah, if you're talking about it's a forced chant, like they were trying to plan it, yeah, that's kind of lame.
Yeah.
But regardless, the act of it, I like it. I'm fine with it.
Is there ever going to be a time when you go in, I've had enough of this chant and I want to change, or, you know, is there somewhere you can force a change?
So there's only one chant I wish could have changed. And I'm at a point in my life now where I'm very secure with myself, so I can talk about this. I had a match with Ethan Page. In the previous promo, Ethan Page came up with a beautiful quip. Excuse me, like a quip, I'm sorry. A beautiful quip. And by beautiful, I mean that so sarcastically. Sugar tits. At the time, I was a little, I guess the word is insecure about that because I had a little bit more weight. So maybe my chesticle area wasn't looking as manly as it could have looked. So I think we had a match, and we had a match at IWC in Philadelphia. Lo and behold, 10 bastards whose names I don't know, but if I saw them in the street, I would fight them individually. Sugar tits chant completely threw me off of my game, and I had to take a minute and kind of come back. Usually I'm really smart about coming back but still being able to stay focused, but like that messed with me. That messed with me bad because it's like, you know, you hear body image stuff all the time in wrestling, but it's like, oh man, that one hurts, you know? And it's like, because it didn't seem like it was in fun. It was like, oh yeah, like, yeah, let's dig at this guy. So, safe to say, I upped my chest workouts. Now, like, I'm looking, you know, a little bit more supple, a little bit more, you know, I can pass the wellness policy. So, we're good. But yeah, like, little stuff like that. I hate mean stuff. I think Gresh mentioned one time before, there was a chant one time. Me, with my sense of humor, I probably would have been okay with it, but I think it was more mean-spirited when they said it. I think he was in Scotland for Ring of Honor, and it was, they made a Black Sabre Jr. chant, but it wasn't in a cute way, if you get what I'm saying. So he was very pissed off about that. So like when it's used in malicious manner, it's like, nah, that's not good. Like that's like weaponizing something, you know?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, last week, you were against Brady Phillips for title, and one of the things there obviously we looked like starting off the 1, 2, 3, 4 sugar.
Sure.
And going on. And Brady Phillips, while your back was turned, like, hit you from behind, and it stopped straight away. But you do see sometimes where the chanting keeps going, how sort of do, not to be like inside or anything, but you know, how do you see fit?
Yes, the outcomes are predetermined. Spoilers. Okay, all right. Continue with the question. Go ahead.
But like, how do you try on the fly to shut him down?
Yeah, to knock it on the head and get on with the match, obviously.
Well, it's weird because it's like it's not a weird question. It's just weird to answer because you're like, how do I shut it down so I can keep going? You got to remember at the end of the day, if you're between the ropes, it's a battle of wills. But at the end of the day, either the people are going to work you or you're going to work the people. And I don't mean that maliciously. I mean that as like either I need to make you feel something or you need to make me feel something. And in a lot of cases, it's give and take. But when it's too much in one direction or it's too much in the other direction, the job's not being done correctly. And that's not your fault.
Yeah.
You got to pay the ticket. So I think as we went on, I was okay with that. And the reason being is because at the beginning of the match, it was in good fun. As it kept going, it was, hey, I need you to stay in the fight. You know, and like it was reacted and it was used that way accordingly. I hate a lot of times when performers get in their head, I hate the audience was bad, or it was a bad audience, or it was a dead audience, or fans trying to get themselves over. If you do what you're supposed to do, it's not a problem. Like you should look at it as a challenge. Like when it's all said and done, if you got a hostile environment, what are you going to do to adapt to it? Like I think those are the best workers in the world that can do that. You can take a cold room and turn them into something, or you can take a room who didn't have anything to do with you or didn't want anything to do with you, and now you got them invested. I think that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you sit some of the shows in the States this past week, you see, like, for instance, like WrestleCon, some of the shows they've had there, it's been like deathly silent.
Sure.
And you've had the wrestlers like banging the foot on the mat to get them going. I think there was one point during Will Ospreay's match against Bandido, where you're like, come on everyone, it's WrestleCon, come on, get going. And it's like crickets coming from the crowd. But when you see like them Joey Janela spring break shows, and they're all fucking mental.
It's the best. This is the best. Like, okay, so I've done 3 WrestleMania weekends. I did Atlanta, I did Indiana, and I did Florida. I've had my fill. I got invited to do this year. That's okay.
You didn't fancy the clusterfuck, did you?
No, it's not even that. It's not even that. I didn't get invited to that.
All right.
But like I had offers to do things over there. But no, I'd rather be here. And the thing about it, which trips me out, I tell a lot of my friends who are doing it for the first time, they're doing their first Mania weekend and whatnot. So like, what do I gotta do so people talk about me, this and that, this and that. I want you guys to think about something real quick, and this is one of the reasons why I love Twitter. Search stuff on Twitter. Just search stuff. See how people react to stuff and take your opinion out of it. You know, like just look and see what they gotta say about it. Because the reason I'm saying this is because at this WrestleMania weekend, and like every WrestleMania weekend, you're gonna have 5 million matches guaranteed. 499,999 of them are gonna be 5-star classics because you have all the best wrestlers usually in the middle of the world. The thing about it is, it doesn't take much. It's gonna sound weird, but just bear with me. It doesn't take much to have an awesome match that weekend. What it does say something about you is having an awesome moment that weekend. The things that people talk about this weekend, anything Martina does. I love her. She loves everybody, but I love her. Martina, anything Martina does. Joey Janela. And it's not because he's having awesome matches on the show, which he does. He makes crazy moments that people can't not talk about. David Starr's promo at WXW in New York. He had an awesome one before even that, and then he doubled down and had and people still talking about it.
It's probably one of the best of the moments.
Indeed. And as much as people don't like it, Enzo Amore and Big Cass.
What? I like Enzo. Yeah. Well,
I'm not allowed to have. Dude, you're fine. You're fine. Please have an opinion. You're fine. But it's like everybody talks about moments. Matches, as awesome as they are, they go away, they fade. There's always another big match that's coming around the corner. So a lot of times people don't get excited about the prospect of, oh, it's a match, especially that weekend, because it's like there's so many of the same guys in different configurations on different shows. It takes a lot. That's why Janela works. Great moments, mixes things up, can't beat it.
Yeah.
I think it says a lot that lots of wrestlers have like gone over there, you know, hoping to find their, you know, their destiny, you know, that big deal, and get their attention. But I think this is a lot that people talk more about the Invisible Man.
No legs, Mr. No Legs from
Robin, like,
Yeah.
one.
Him, Invisible Man versus Invisible Stan. Like, dude, like that's stuff like that. So you literally have got guys that are going out there and it's like, oh, well, I'm gonna do this triple axle 450 Spanish fly to the
Well,
outside.
they actually did that if
bridge.
you watched the tape.
Yeah, like I'm sure it did. But it's like, really, if you just build an investment moment, it does a lot more for you. Like I promise you, it does a lot more for you. So yeah.
Yeah. So going back onto the champs then, so back to that Road to Glory weekend in PCW, because obviously that was just your first tour and you were only going to do, what was it, like 2 months, was it, originally?
I think I was there for, my first tour was like a month and a half.
Yeah, month and a half. How much did that weekend make you decide that this was the place to be? And from then on?
So I'm making no secret, like back home, I feel like you don't want to be that guy that, like, there's a million guys right now that are like, I'm underrated, I get looked over, I get slept on, and all that other stuff like that. I'll never say that. It's just my opportunity didn't come around. Or if I got one, either I messed it up or it just wasn't right for me. So I own that, I accept that, I move forward. So a lot of the times you gotta be willing to ask yourself, hey, I need to hit the reset button. I had a great opportunity to be able to come out here. I think it's cool looking back a year ago at my messages and messaging the people that I messaged and either not getting a response, getting left on red, oh, there's no room for you, oh, we don't really know you like that. And like Hope, Title, PCW took the chance on me. And it was Title that set the stage, but it was PCW that really let me know, hey, I can do this. I can do this, I can really do this, I gotta double down on this. And now I look back a year later and it's like I'm having dialogue with all those people that didn't want to do it, and you know, even the reply, just even getting to do progress and it being well received and whatnot. Like, man, like, stuff really does come true if you want it to. You just have to kind of double down and be about getting it done, and you can't be scared. And it's funny to me now too, because I had a lot of friends when I said I was gonna come over here, like, well, you don't know anybody and nobody can vouch for you and all this other stuff like that. You're right, I don't know anybody. The point is to get to know everybody. And now, like, I'm chilling with y'all, I'm chilling over here, people coming to see it, and now it feels like home, you know? So.
Plus, helps you being a very personable guy as well. You're very.
I wouldn't say person.
No.
It's just the jacket.
No, but you can go up to the merch desk and you're very chatty and what have you. I think the other night at Future Show, where Big Joe was stood on that chair. He was like, "What are you looking at? What are you looking at? I'm massive. I'm massive." you were like poking fun at him, and just like general chit chat like that.
I remember what it was like to just. I just remember what it was like when I wanted to be in this business so bad, and I remember what it was like when nobody knew who I was. And I'm not saying I'm like the biggest name in the world or anything like that, but it's cool at this point where people are excited to see me, or they're excited to see my work, or any of that other stuff. Like, can we curse?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not gonna be a dick. You know, like I'm sorry, like I don't want to do that. Like, I just want somebody to have that positive experience and just know that, like, pro wrestling is like awesome, man. It's like the best thing in the world. So I just want somebody to be able to walk away with that, and it's very easy to mess that up for somebody. So I don't want to be the reason why that happens.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Good stuff. Right, I think I'm probably gone over me 20 minutes.
Is everyone keeping time?
Are you alright?
Am I alright? Oh, well.
You should have a ring bell. Like,
You got like the Oscar music, just playing ball.
Can you teach him basketball?
Oh yeah. So yeah, while we're here, get you tuned up for tonight. Come on, bit of a warm up. I'm like,
Wait, you're teaching them like how to clap?
No.
No, but I do have a complaint about American audiences since we're there. They don't understand. Shout out to Dave Chris, because this makes him so upset. Like when he talks about it, he loves the fans in Ohio, but he hates the fans in Ohio because they don't know how to. Oh, hey TK. Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
£2 quid.
£2 quid, mate.
Why would I pay to come here?
Mate, you're here.
Hey, remember like when we were in London and like I like pinned you and stuff? Yeah, that was great, wasn't it?
I'm having a conversation.
Oh, when I'm having a conversation with you, I got the mic, bro.
Talking to glass.
No, you over here. I'm sorry, was that important? Were you talking to somebody important?
We're having a thing.
You were having a thing?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. You have a thing. Do you have business here, sir?
I don't know, you tell me.
Oh, what you got over there? Oh, hey.
I've
That's
got
nice.
extras if you must know.
Okay. Let me win this briefcase later, so it'll match my suit jacket, and then yeah, I'll come and get that.
Why? What's in it?
I don't know. I hope it's a wrong. I want to think it's something nice or whatever it is. I hope there's a hammer in it so I can hit you in the head with it. Ooh. It worked for Triple H.
Grievous bodily harm. It's like, ooh, not like, hey, that's.
Hey, it worked for Triple H. He got to the top. One sledgehammer changed everything. Just saying. Some people would like to point out marriage or his obvious talent and physique, but you know, I say the sledgehammer.
If you're going to generalize it, it would be the sledgehammer, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Great.
Damon Moser, everybody.
So, as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted by the New Zealander, when we went ahead and he was talking about how they do claps, so they only know the cadence of, I'm gonna try to keep this, yeah, it's okay. So, their clap cadence is, it upsets him because it's like, nobody taught them about the 2 and 4 in basic wrestling. See that? Everybody just come in on that. Now, you've got the one innovated by the New Day, which is and lest we forget, the often forgotten but very nice Chuck Taylor one. If you do the Chuck Taylor clap at an American show, I promise you, it's gonna sound like dishes breaking. Nobody can get on the same. It's like it's terrible. It's terrible. Like it hurts my head.
It's not like they're wearing varying later on.
Yeah, it's very slap happy. It's not good. It's not good. You guys got a lot to teach in terms of like rhythm and song and everything like that. Like,
to do it as well.
yeah. Like America tries and it's just not the same. It's not the same. That's why I love Mania Week show. Like a matter of fact, we'll probably get a good demonstration like Mania Week Raw because there's so many people from around the world. Y'all have the best chance, best songs. Like y'all got it, and then they try to do it in America. Screw it all up. Pretty much.
Yeah.
America.
Ribbon. Well, are we over our 20 minutes? Oh, great stuff.
You were supposed to let us know, bro.
Well, hope you've enjoyed these 23 minutes, including the clapping. And make sure you do it tonight, folks. I'll be watching. Know where you live.
You're so nasty, sir.
Hey,
I like it.
Hey, you Athers. So I'd just like to say thank you to Mr. Sugar Dunkerton. Mr. Chris Wilson. And Mr. Jeff Ogden over there on the I've been Andrew Ogden.
We'll work past it. We'll work past it. So yeah, we're turning the lights. We're going to try and do 20 minutes essentially on, hopefully, well, not what we want to see for the next 6 months, but what we expect or what we hope for, I guess.
I suppose we kind of think of it as like if, there's like a bit of background about our podcast is like we started this because we all like talk about wrestling at work. Yay. But we don't always get to be on the same shifts, so we decided like one Sunday night we'll just meet up and basically me and Tom talk about wrestling and then Ethan tells us why we're wrong. So that's kind of the dynamic that we have a little bit.
Very opinionated young
So
I do try.
Yeah.
what we thought we'd do is
we're not very cool, so it's like the mainstream stuff. We just kind of want to have a look at where we think WWE is going to be post-Mania, kind of running into like what, SummerSlam kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe.
A little bit of distance from what's going to happen tonight, I think. What we'd like to see more than anything else. So, Rob, do you want to kick us off?
I think like because we kind of think of like Mania as like the cup final kind of thing, and then normally like the Raw and SmackDown is the start of the new season. So
Essentially.
if we're kind of going off that, we talk a lot about we quite like Andrade, and we always wanted like Andrade to get pushed because he's not getting what he deserves.
They're not
where he is.
really like using him to the quality that he actually is. And I know he's got that flare rub right now, so it's like, I mean, hopefully that'll help him along the way a little
Flare
bit.
Stardust.
But I think was it last episode we were talking a little bit about his history with Nakamura and the IWGP Intercontinental title. It'd be nice to see those guys do something similar with the WWE Intercontinental title. To see that title become more than just like a mid-card prize, and more of something that's kind of almost on the level. So there's a little bit more for the guys who are really talented, but maybe don't fit into that top bracket. I think you've really got to invest in your entire card to make the whole thing a lot stronger. So if we could maybe see like post shake-up maybe, if there's going to be a shake-up, if it's still decided to
It
do
is
that.
rumoured, isn't it? But I don't know if it's.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a date set for it. I probably should have looked it up doing a live podcast.
So May, I think, 17th.
Okay,
It's the
cool.
next week after. It's the next week. So there's post-Mania and then the week after Shake-Up.
Glad someone knows.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate
Do
that.
my research.
No, we not really. That's what I should have done, but you know, I didn't. So yeah, I'll say if that is to happen, then I mean, I guess I'd like to see him stay on SmackDown personally. I think there's a lot more opportunity for it to wrestle. Yeah, so there's been a split between SmackDown going to Fox, which I think will be a bigger split than it already is. Obviously, there's rumours of new tag belts for Raw, and I think they're going to keep the penny belts to SmackDown. So it looks like it may be the case that they're going to split in the two apart.
I think like it makes sense because like the two shows are already very similar, and it is difficult to watch 5 hours of wrestling every week. So if they kind of do separate it into a kind of more, I mean, I know Fox are pushing for something that's a bit more niche or a little bit kind of more
Sports.
attitude-y, sportsy, yeah. So, I mean, if they do have that distinct separation where maybe they alter the titles slightly or kind of bring it one way, that would be really good. And if they could take stars who are maybe just about at that pinnacle and bring them up a little bit, like your Andrades, like your, I don't know, who else?
You said you were hoping that if Pete gets his call up, it would be
Yeah,
strong.
I assume we've all watched Takeover.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we enjoy it.
Good
Yeah.
show. Yeah.
Great show.
It was kind of bittersweet seeing Pete drop the belt. It was kind of sad, I think, because he's done a lot for us as British wrestling fans in the past 3 years, 4 years. They kind of just drove their own path and created a great work experience. So I think hopefully he gets called up. There's a lot of opportunity to wrestle guys like Daniel Bryan, Andrade.
Yeah.
I think he'll go to Raw, but I think he'd suit SmackDown better. Personally.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he lands on a brand where they are going to like really invest in him and give him that reign to do what he does best. Like you say, Ethan, he's kind of, for a lot of people, not just for himself, he's really helped carry a career for a lot of British independent wrestlers. Before Pete, I mean, it was a lot tougher to kind of have that platform, but he's just done so much for British wrestling, for independent wrestling as a whole.
Yeah.
It'd be lovely to see him treated as we treated him in NXT, where he is a force to be reckoned with. He's a guy who can hold a title and carry a brand, and I hope they carry that over when he does get called up to the main.
He's on a lot of their sort of promo stuff, isn't he? He was building up to like this WrestleMania weekend. He's got a piece on a lot of the stuff with some of the other guys as well, so they rate him really highly. Well, they must have, they wouldn't have kept that title on him for 685 days, so they obviously have a lot of faith in him.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity. It's just if you go the right way with it. I think it's tough, obviously, because Mania's not happened yet, so it's hard to say what we think's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, we've done like a pick 'em, but we're pretty much consistent across the board, aren't we?
Essentially, I mean, I think I see Kofi winning personally, and I think there's a massive opportunity for a New Day implosion. I think, like in the next 6 months.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe a year even.
it can go one of two ways, really, can't it? Because I mean, every stable at some point is going to have that implosion moment. I think if it's booked right, you've got so much talent in those three guys to go in three separate directions and kind of really tell quite an emotional story. Because obviously theirs is a pretty emotional story anyway. But for that implosion to kind of round it out for them all, maybe like a jealousy kind of angle or something along those lines. You could have Woods playing the mid ground, and I think it's about time that they're showing light on Big E as well. I mean, he's the total package, he really is. So to have those three guys,
yeah, he's a good wrestler. There's a lot of opportunity. I think I'd like to see it personally. I think Kofi wins, which is amazing. Like really excited for that. If he can move forward with that, and then again, kind of next couple of pay-per-views, retain, but then again create some like kind of friction between the three of them.
Yeah, we said something. We didn't like maybe do something towards like Survivor Series, where it's like a big elimination match between the three, maybe or something, and it's something like all three of them. But I think it maybe is the right time to pull something like that.
It's whether the money, it's the money, isn't it? I think.
But that's the thing, though, isn't it? Like they sell so much merch.
Yeah.
Does WWE want to ruin that?
It's tough. It's always a
business side of
kind of business.
Yeah.
They always have got a busy few of things, haven't they? I think that's the reason why a lot of the guys were as ever popular as they were and got the pushes that they got because of big sales and stuff like that. But again, it's tough to say really.
Tough to see where it's going to go.
I think Ricochet and Aleister Black.
I always split them. I'm like,
it's a weird tag team. I think.
I mean, they work incredibly well together, but when you've got two of the best professional wrestlers on the planet and you bundle them in a tag team, it just feels like there's so much kind of missed opportunity there. I think obviously they look like they had their kind of last hurrah in NXT the other night. Whether they're going to take that and then split them up as they move up is yet to be seen. I don't think if they do go up as a tag team, they're really wading into anything that's like, the tag division isn't particularly solid at the moment.
No. Do you see them winning tonight?
No, I don't think they'll win. I think, to me, it should be a loss and then a split, clean split, so these guys can come in hot, single stars. They're wasting too much opportunity as a tag team. For me, anyway. For me.
They were like two of the guys that probably had that main roster call up, but you don't want them to. Like we talk about like Velveteen Dream, like I don't want them to go to the main roster because they'll just get ruined.
Yeah.
It could happen, but again, you never know, do you? Like, it could go the totally opposite way and they could push him right.
Could be that guy.
Maybe.
I think Andrade was like a prime example of that because he's not in a title picture, but he's having really good matches against guys like Ray and stuff like that. And they're using him in the right way. There's just not time for him yet. And like you were saying, I think there is definitely an opportunity for him to find himself into a title picture.
Yeah, totally. It really is just where the coin lands with how much they want to invest in them and how big a star power they actually see them. Well, Vince sees them having really, because I mean, you can have everybody in the whole company believe in you and think you're the guy.
Yeah.
But if that one guy doesn't, then there's not really much you can do.
Yeah. Who do you see holding the Universal title in 6 months' time?
6 months. Well, to be honest, for me, I don't see Seth winning at Mania. I think with Roman coming back as quick as he has, I think once again the big lad's mind's going to go back to let's put it on my body. You know what I mean? Like I think I can really see that changing it. But I could be wrong. I mean, Seth could be the guy who eventually beats Brock, but it's yet to be seen.
He's signed a short-term deal as well, like last few days I think Brock as well. So it's probably he's holding on to it a bit longer.
Brilliant. Love that. Do like Brock a lot. Something I wanted to touch on before we go as well. I don't know how long we've been at it, but
it feels like forever.
Yeah. I keep getting worried TK keeps walking in because I feel like he's gonna hurt me.
Go back to question once now when we're a bit worried about it.
Got a bit of history with that guy. But yeah, the tag division, just to touch on that again. I guess everyone's seen what happened last night with the old Rasta railing the ring and having a bit of go at Bret Hart.
What bellend?
Yeah, mate, honestly, mate, awful.
I was saying it's like walking into a police station and attacking the sergeant.
He's
why would
the big lad, do you know what I mean?
do that? Like,
Poor old Bret. You were comparing him to Kevin Keegan earlier, weren't you? I was like, nothing goes right for him.
I just feel so bad for him. Like he just never. He's boring, and someone like that's just an idiot. Like not even a fan, he's just an idiot. Just comes in and does that. I hope they need to give the Revival like a long 10-year contract after that.
That's the point, because like
that's true.
That right hand from Chelsea is unbelievable.
Yeah.
But I'm really seeing him as like I hope Vince has saw that and it's got to his like caveman part of his brain, just going that guy knocked him clean out, and it's like gives him that enforcer push. Because that's what I want to see the Revival as. I want to see him as the APA, like you come in and maybe you've got a bit of an attitude and then you get in the ring with them and they take a bit of liberties, you know what I mean? I mean, and I know it sounds bad, but it's just, I love watching that stuff.
I think he's going to be really good with the next 6 months, especially because of AEW signing, I think they just signed a live TV deal.
Wicked, good stuff.
And I was always saying to you guys, there's no such thing as bad competition, like it's always going to be a good thing for everybody. But you were saying, Tom, you think like AEW's tag division is going to be pretty big.
Well, I mean, if the Young Bucks are like, the Young Bucks are the whole executive producers, they're big in it, they're not going to have a weak tag division. I imagine that they're going to have shows where the tag titles can kind of headline as opposed to their world title. Tag team wrestling for a long time has been kind of underrated. I think maybe a few years ago when NXT was starting to get that build up and you saw like the Revival and DIY and American Alpha and those teams, it did give you hope thinking that these tag teams are eventually going to have their platform. But we've not seen that materialise in the main roster. I mean, you've got the staples like the Usos, and I suppose
like legitimate ones aren't there, are they? They just throw them together.
And this is the point.
And that's where you're worried if you're kind of like a mid to sort of undercard talent who's not got much going on. You're going to walk into the office one day, exactly, and Vince's going to write, you're a tag for a bit now, and you're like, oh, I don't really want to.
It's like if you're like an Olympic sprinter and you're on the sprint team, and then they kind of go, you're good, but you know what, you're going to go do the shot put instead. It's different, it's like it's competed in the same kind of remit, but it's two different things. Like they need to just really step back, strip the whole thing out of it, and just go, tag team wrestlers are tag team wrestlers, single stars are single stars. And really shine that light on it, and I hope that when it does go to Fox, because they've got that kind of emphasis on sport, it'd be nice to see the Revival kind of maybe shift over and become that tag team that kind of really lay a good foundation. But it's who do they wrestle? That's the question. Who do they wrestle?
It's a good question. I think it's almost impossible. I know we're doing 20 minutes on the entire thing, but I think it's impossible to kind of say what's going to happen because of WWE just make some crazy decisions at times. I think NXT UK is going to be interesting with Walter winning the title off Pete. I was thinking, like, do they go down the Devlin route and kind of remake what happened at OTT, or do they go down a different way? But again, there's who can challenge Walter right now for that title.
Yeah, I mean, and it's kind of, we said this about Progress as well, didn't we? It's like once Walter won the belt and once he kind of beat Tyler, we were kind of like, well, who's left to really be that next challenger? And I think they've kind of put themselves in that position on NXT UK as well, where it's like, for the longest time, it's who's going to beat Pete. Oh wait, yeah, there's Walter. But now Walter's got it. Who's going to beat Walter?
Yeah, I mean, obviously with OTT, and then again you've got Super Strong Style coming up pretty soon. Maybe Devlin wins that. Maybe Devlin wins Super Strong Style, then beats Walter, and then do they do it a third time on NXT UK? It's like, can you remake the same story 3 times?
The thing is though with WWE, if it's not happening in any of their shows, then it never happened in the first place. So they would just treat that as like first time ever, like a first women's pay-per-view that we've had them since the 90s. It's not the first time ever.
I'm excited for NXT UK now. I think Walter's going to shake things up a little bit.
It's been a bit quiet the last few. I mean, we said this running into Takeover really. Like the build-up hasn't been like a traditional Takeover build-up. Like it feels like a lot of the kind of like blood feud stuff wasn't really there, and they're kind of like there was a lot of like respectful wrestling matches as opposed to like really big drawn out stories. And I think NXT UK is going kind of like that, but it is very much in its teething stages, isn't it? And it's still a fantastic show, but I think now that they've kind of moved aside from Pete, it'll give the other guys a chance to kind of filter through and maybe get their own Pete Dunne moments.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he's always been one of the biggest names because obviously the work that he did. So I just hope that they don't lose that on the main show.
Yeah, I hope so.
I was saying with Takeover, going into Takeover, I really wanted Adam Cole to win the belt. But as I was watching the match, it kind of made sense to put it on Gargano. I think that's the right decision. But I do think within a year, I think Undisputed Era will hold all the belts in NXT. I think they will hold everything.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. I mean, it was so close at one point, and it did kind of feel like a missed opportunity for them to just kind of like, we own NXT. We own the whole thing of it. And it just really depends of whether they're going to keep those guys there or whether they're going to see that their roster maybe isn't that deep once they split the shows a little more concretely, if that's even a word. And then maybe they'll think we need to just drag these guys up from NXT, like War Raiders, go on, up you go. Undisputed Era, up you go. We need to fill these spots because we just need to get eyes on the product. But
it's a good
who
point.
knows?
There's always the worry that it turns into something like Sanity though on SmackDown. They just get lost and
what have they done?
No one knows.
We were going through a list of tag teams, like just to try and get an idea of how you build that roster, and we completely forgot about Sanity. Like because they came up and then just went nowhere, just completely disappeared.
Did they come up after Radio Lotion?
I imagine this room could probably answer it. Did they? You remember? Nobody remembers saying. No,
No, they did.
Did
They
they
did,
do?
after Mania. I thought it was like the guy that wanted
This
to
guy, you want a job?
Do you do anything Wednesday nights?
Yeah, no, I think there's a massive opportunity for them. And we were saying, I think Roman Reigns was saying that he reckons the WWE saw an off season.
Yeah,
I agree and disagree
never
at
gonna
the same time. It won't happen, but I think it'd be an opportunity to, like we were saying, move some of the main kind of event talent off for a few months and give the guys that are mid cards a bigger opportunity to shine and show themselves.
Yeah, because like when someone gets injured and they go away, it's almost like a good thing for him. Like you look at Ciampa, and it's with going away for surgery. Like that's like such a good thing because his character arc wasn't really going anywhere other than lose to Johnny Gargano.
Having a neck injury is a good.
I mean, it's not, but career-wise, sometimes career-wise it's a good thing. I mean,
Vertebrae fused together. Isn't it?
it's all right, mate. It's not that. It's absolutely no.
You've got a bit of a neck injury.
I slept funny last night, so I kind of feel his pain. But yeah, like he's suddenly gone from most despised man in like mainstream professional wrestling, I suppose, to kind of like a real sympathetic figure, and it just adds to his character. And I mean, you never want to see someone get hurt, you never want to see someone get injured, but having that off season and giving people that time to miss you would be good for everyone all around, I think, and the R&R and the family time as well. Maybe stop
of course.
dropping dead at like 50.
It's always
Yeah,
nice to
standard.
do.
Yeah.
I want a Hulk Hogan run.
Oh mate, here we go. I mean,
I just want to see him drop a leg one more time.
mate, he'd explode.
He would explode.
The literal atomic leg drop,
Like
big bits of cartilage and plastic going everywhere.
I hate him as a human being, but
Yeah.
I just want to see him drop a leg.
I mean, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, he didn't exactly get a full standing ovation last night, did he? So,
No, he didn't.
which is to be expected.
Yeah,
Can't get away with
absolutely.
that shit.
No. No, it's gonna be a funny old year, I think.
Before we go, what do you want, Rob? One wish.
And not like £200 million wrestling one.
I think he's just got back to Andrade. I'm really hot on Andrade. I think he's mint, and now he's got that flare dust on him. I think he could really help him.
Is that what we're calling it now? Flare dust?
I just don't know. I want.
That sounds really wrong.
I want the main stuff to be more like NXT, where they're allowed to just be a bit more free and not be choked.
One pinch with them, take away. Not
Yeah.
say die, because that's bad taste.
Just
Just go
yeah.
away. Just go away.
I'd like him to have
I don't
3
think
months
Vince will
off.
ever die anyways.
No,
It's
it
fine.
can't. It's impossible.
I think I'd like him to have a bit of time off
Yeah.
and let someone else kind of take the reins a little bit. That's not going to happen.
I just want to see Pete utilised.
Yeah.
I think he deserves it. I think it'd be a crime against him to not give him his due for what he's done for the business.
Yeah.
And I don't want him like winning the world title, so that'd be wicked. But just don't put him in like some stupid 6-man tags every night and stuff like that. I think that's the main thing. There's a lot of opportunity to go in different but yeah, good singles fuse. I reckon he might wrestle Daniel Bryan Monday or Tuesday.
I mean, that'd be mint. You know what? That's really possible. Like Monday after Raw. Like that.
It's a SmackDown to Bryan, but I think he might do it.
Oh yeah.
He might do it. What about you?
Tag team. I just want to see them invest in the revival, invest in real quality tag team hands, and just create something else. You know, like I don't want it to be a separate brand thing like 205. I just want to take them seriously. I'd love to see a main event in some shows. They're all about creating these pay-per-views based around like, you've got like a cruiserweight kind of thing, you've got a cruiserweight classic, like maybe a main roster tag team classic, something like that. But just give them a chance to show off what they can really do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, as if we've like rehearsed this, which we haven't, we're pretty much on time.
Yeah.
We're never on time.
Never
It takes
on
us
time.
about this long to get set up when we get it.
Yeah,
In fact, about an hour.
It's because normally we get to the studio like 9:30, and then we moan about work for 90 minutes,
and then we start
recording, and then it's 1 o'clock, and I'm like, I'm back at 8.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
It's always good fun.
So,
Isn't life grand?
It's amazing. Wrestling is the best thing in the world.
Excellent.
As always.
Yeah, thanks for having us, guys.
Yeah, appreciate it. It's been good today. I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks to Breed for pushing it all on for us.
Nice one.
Yeah.
Nice to be part
Are you
of.
going to do your shameless plug? Can you remember it?
No.
Of course you can.
Watch the Twitter at Lights Pod.
No,
Instagram at Lights.
yeah. We do write stuff for our GM as well, but TK hated me for that because I missed a match out on my review of
We'll have a match with
the
him.
Breed show, so he called me
Just
out.
got to get in ring shape.
I think you should fight him.
Oh yeah, that's
I mean, you're the strongest of all of us, so yeah.
Yeah.
I think I just eat the most. I don't.
That's a bit. Nice one.
Lovely. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.
live! Thank you very much. So I am Graham, or Grey Mysterio for today, as you'll see. I lost a bet. And sitting to my right is Dan.
Hi.
How are you, Dan?
Tired.
Are you? It's a tiring time, let's be honest. We're all exhausted, aren't we? Yeah. And we've still got what? I don't have a watch on, but a lot of time left. But it's all good. It's all exciting, isn't it? We're all looking forward to WrestleMania 2. I think that's indicative of booking more than anything at the moment. Yeah. So when we got asked to do this by Mitch and the guy that briefed. Thank you very much. We talked about a few different topics, and then Mitch suggested he wanted us to talk a little bit about wrestling in South Yorkshire. Now, we don't know a great deal about wrestling in South Yorkshire, but we did meet a professional wrestling company that was based in South Yorkshire, did we not?
Yes, we did. And two of us, the other person who now does the podcast, Daryl, is actually in New York.
Yeah.
So
abandoned us to go off to New York to propose to his girlfriend. God, selfish, if anything.
To propose to his girlfriend and then hang out with the Iconics and Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And Matt Hardy, don't forget Matt Hardy.
Yeah, Matt Hardy.
But he's away from us, so as a sort of third member, Daryl, if you're watching, you're represented by, well, who is it? It's Singlet Kevin Nash, which I don't ever remember Kevin Nash wearing a singlet, so that figure is nothing short of mysterious to me. But nonetheless, Singlet Kevin Nash will replace Daryl in this particular juncture. So we're going to talk a little bit about a promotion called 1PW. Now, there we go. This is the reaction I completely expected. Yeah. So, promotion that became very popular and very unpopular at the same time in around 2005, and it was through them that we actually became friends. We actually got together, and Daryl, in fact, is technically a former in-ring talent of 1PW, in that he dressed up as Roughneck and got kicked in the face by Joey Hayes. Which admittedly is more than I've done in the ring, so I'll give him that. And then, what else? He was also a bear.
He was a bear in a segment, and the bear costume, the body and the head of the bear costume were from two different bear costumes.
Yeah, I can't even quite believe it, but basically, it's like, why don't the firm actually? Well, I bought them separately. Now, I don't know how someone's managed to buy a separate bear head and bear costume, but nonetheless, that was able to happen for Daryl to wear as a bear costume. And then in the head never even came off, did it?
No.
Anyway, so we sort of wanted to break it down a little bit. Obviously, Breed are bringing professional wrestling, not back to Sheffield, but bringing professional wrestling to Sheffield in a really big way. And we've been really excited to see what they've been able to do so far. And maybe we've provided a few little do's and don'ts, maybe, of what to do and yeah, definitely what not to do. So, we wanted to talk a little bit about 1PW sort of started off a little bit as a wannabe TNA, really?
Yes, so 1PW came around kind of towards the tail end of the original FWA, and then before the boom started up again with PCW and companies like that, and then eventually Progress and what we've got now. So they kind of filled a gap really strangely in the Super Show market. So they booked Doncaster Dome, and they fill it with people that you only see in TNA and the former Attitude Era stars to bring, I think the venue holds like, what, 2,000 people?
Yeah, well, I mean, it holds 2,000, I think that was the biggest crowd that they got at one time.
1,850.
Sorry, yes, 1,850, or however many for tax purposes, or not tax purposes, in case maybe. So they sort of flooded the market a little bit with sort of many different indie stars. I mean, nowadays we get used to the idea of, we're fortunate in 2019 and obviously years prior to this, that we have American talent who actively want to come across to the UK. They want to be part of the scene because the scene's massive, ultimately, at this point, and it's just growing and growing. But in 2005, it's sort of a very different story. Basically, the FWA was the format, really, and they were sort of getting out of the Super Show business by the time that 1PW came and flooded the market.
And the thing with FWA was, they weren't a full-on Super Show promotion. They focused a lot on their own talent, and then had the Super Show maybe once or twice a year, and filled the card with people. Whereas 1PW decided, we're going to run 2 shows every 2 months, filled with Bret Hart and a bunch of massive name stars.
I think the name that sticks in my mind most is not the most famous person that was there, but the name that really sort of epitomises the whole thing for me is that 1PW brought Elix Skipper across from America. Now, I'm no promoter, but if you're selling tickets and you've got AJ Styles and Chris Daniels and Samoa Joe and Bret Hart on the bill, maybe don't bring Elix Skipper. You know?
Also on that show, they had the rematch of one of the greatest matches in TNA history, Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels, but with one addition, Charlie Haas.
Well, he was the missing part, you know. I mean, we all watched that match and thought, you know, this 3-1 is great, but what's it missing? I know, one half of Team Angle. But I mean, the format was interesting in the sense that they brought eyes towards Doncaster, eyes towards South Yorkshire, if you like, and there's more that we'll talk about in terms of what they did in South Yorkshire later on, including a show that the promoter of 1PW had in Sheffield, which means that no one can ever take professional wrestling to the hubs in Sheffield ever again, which, yeah, well, we'll get back to that. I can see some people literally can remember that from this point. But the idea was there, they built the company on whatever funds you might believe, and one thing that they were really lacking, and they were rightly criticised for at the start, was a lack of UK talent.
Yes.
Like I say, right now, people are clamouring for talent from the UK to go all over. People want our wrestlers that come from the United Kingdom to wrestle elsewhere. And the UK is in essence the hot scene, if you like.
Yep.
Whereas at this time, their perception was that the United States was the hot scene and you had to work around that. So they neglected initially certain UK talent. But fortunately, as things went on and as high quality guys came in, more and more UK talents managed to make their name, at least sort of stake a claim in 1PW a little bit, and stake their claim in basically do what they were doing already in other parts of the country in front of these sort of larger audiences. Now, the first name that comes to my mind really is Spud.
Yeah.
Spud, obviously, Drake Maverick, fresh. Yes, is he officially Bret Hart's bodyguard now? Or? But
seeing Spud try and tackle Travis Brown off of the dude was just the best.
But he was one of the few sort of British names that actually got a chance to shine in 1PW.
Yeah, he had kind of, it was like the B story to the main storyline where he was feuding with Sterling James Keenan, who's now Corey Graves on the commentary desk.
Yeah, sorry for Corey Graves, everybody. It's 1PW's fault.
So Spud was feuding with him and The Abyss. And they had loads of great moments, including Spud doing a balcony dive in Doncaster Dome. Just great stuff. Aside from Spud as well, in that first year, we had Team Shag.
Yes, Team Shag. So Darren Burridge, who, I don't know how well Darren Burridge is really sort of known at this point, but he was, again, like one of the main sort of British faces in the company at a time when I say, like, not many British faces were being given the opportunities that they should be. And I think he's maybe more famous now for what he does in terms of training.
Yeah, he trained Will Ospreay.
Yeah, I mean...
And I think he's part of the people who book out Resistance Gallagher to all the companies in London, so he has got a legacy still built there, but this is during the time when I don't think anyone really knew him when he came into 1PW.
Not really, well...
Teaming alongside Colt Cabana, they became the hottest tag team there.
Yeah, and it was sort of a nice little relationship in the sense that Colt Cabana and Darren Burridge sort of worked together and actually created quite an entertaining act during a time where, like I say, the problem with the shows were that the Americans were put over the British talent constantly, and then they found a way, and probably a lot of it would be to do with the fact that Colt is, you know, such a British wrestling fan, to actually sort of work alongside each other and, you know, create something good, something enjoyable. The next name that comes to my mind, obviously, is Pac. Pac he was sort of getting exposure in promotions around the UK around that time.
So it was like the Northeast where he started off in 3CW and WrestleZone? Or
yeah, WZW is the other one I think of as well.
But then IPW UK was also a company that were really focusing on him.
Yeah.
But my first 1PW show was the first anniversary show, which featured him versus AJ Styles, which was the match of the night. It was absolutely fantastic. I went to see a barbed wire match and came away thinking Pac is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
It was absolutely fantastic.
And seeing somebody like that actually, like I say, at this point get the chance was really pleasing to see. And that match with AJ Styles was really excellent. And I think somebody uploaded a lot of stuff on YouTube, so you'll probably find it somewhere at this point. But it was really great to see some of these UK talents get the chances that they weren't getting before, and that's how essentially it should have been. And a name that a couple of names I want to bring up, one of whom is on the show tonight, and one of whom obviously is synonymous with professional wrestling in Sheffield, is Martin Kirby and Chris Travis of Project Chiga. And I think it was also very pleasing to see at the time local talents like that, especially for Chris, obviously being from Sheffield, be given opportunities in front of larger crowds. And I'm really thankful in the sense that obviously be in the situation we are now, knowing that I was able to sort of see him sort of rise from maybe smaller promotions in around South Yorkshire to the point where they were headlining shows across the United Kingdom, and obviously we saw where Chris's sort of career went from there, and we know the circumstances around it. But it's one of my sort of more treasured memories is seeing these guys be so entertaining, just so entertaining. And
I think my highlights of Chris Travis and Martin Kirby, they wrestled Zebra Kid and Sam Slam at the Granby. With the Granby, it was a tiny working men's club, which, on a side note,
imagine the worst place you've ever been, and it was worse. Definitely.
1PW once booked Abyss for that venue. Abyss showed up and instantly demanded more money upon seeing the venue. But yes, so they were wrestling Zebra Kid and Sam Slam, and they were kind of just chewing up teams, like APA style. So Trav and Kirby came up with the great idea of wrapping themselves up in bubble wrap. I believe Kirby's repeated that in Defiant recently in a match with Walter. But yeah, so they came out completely wrapped in bubble wrap, and Sam Slam didn't take too kindly to it for some reason, and punched Trav in the face so hard that he had a massive lump on the side of his face for about 2 weeks.
It was, but I mean, it was hilarious. Like, they're such entertaining guys, and it was only because I live in Doncaster myself, and it was only because they'd been sort of brought to my attention that I was able to sort of enjoy their work, and that was really sort of pleasant to see. Specifically talking about South Yorkshire then, and talking about the sort of impact, if you like, that 1PW have, I'm going to come back to Trav and Kirby a little bit here, because after 1PW, those of you who might not be aware, 1PW didn't like to pay debts. They didn't pay a lot of bills, and they got themselves in a lot of trouble, including nearly ruining any relationship that the UK had with, basically with all of Japan, if you like, when they botched the whole Great Muta.
They went out of business rather than pay the Great Muta.
Yeah.
And then came back 2 months later.
Yeah. So sorry about that part. There was, things weren't going well until then, and then after that it just got even worse. But that being what it was, the promotion carried on, and then the promoter tried to start another promotion, but this time in Sheffield. Now, he booked the Hobbs at Sheffield University, obviously a famous venue, and I think they were told, now as much as I'm aware, is that they were instructed, look, we're really excited to have the wrestling, just be careful, we know you've got a hardcore match booked, just don't damage anything.
Also onto this, I worked ringside cam on the 1PW show where they use light tubes, and I'm a fan of the deathmatch stuff, like I'm wearing a Nick Gage shirt right now, but I was doing ringside cam and a light tube got smashed right in front of me, and I ended up with loads of shards in my arm. So I was a bit sketchy about being in light tubes. So yeah, I was a complete victim of this. So on show day, I went up to Stephen Gauntly and said, I noticed you've got a hardcore match. Have you got light tubes? Just so I know, so I can stand back a little bit. No, mate, we're not allowed to use them.
Now they weren't allowed to use them, were they?
2 minutes into Jimmy Havoc's match, I can't remember who it was with, but he was already bloodied up. He pulled light tubes out. And not only did he smash them all over the place, but then he came up to me and rubbed his head down my shirt. So that was a fun day for me. And for everyone, because the fact they use light tubes and all these weapons in this match meant that wrestling is no longer allowed in the hubs.
Yeah.
We don't know if that band still exists, because it was about 8-9 years ago now, but it probably does.
So if the ban exists, again, it's their fault, sorry about that. One sort of positive thing that I think that sort of came out of 1PW and out of like the death of 1PW, if you like, and the sort of promotions around it, is that some offshoot promotions started to come out. Now some were truly terrible. There's one that particularly sticks in my mind, which was Doncaster-based wrestling, which they held a show in a park, and it wasn't a paid show. This literally, they went to a park, drove their ring there, set it up, and just had matches in a park, which is a sight to see, is all I'm going to say. But I think one positive that comes out of it is companies like DPW Leeds and SSW Rotherham, and a lot of companies which maybe aren't necessarily active now, and then other companies like PCW and Southside and all of that have were able to take from that, maybe learn some of the lessons that weren't learned by what occurred in Doncaster, and able to sort of carve their own niche. And it's been really pleasing to see in terms of as the British wrestling scene sort of has grown and grown over the last sort of decade. you know, they should, everyone, well not everyone, but you know, we're getting proper promotions now that are running essentially the way that they should be.
Yeah.
And for as much as 1PW was sort of detested a lot by, you know, various members of the community for perfectly viable reasons, I think one thing they were able to do that Progress are absolutely able to tap into now is give you that idea that you belong to something. And Progress have taken that and run with it further, and we're hoping, obviously, and I think it feels like it's at the moment, that Breed are taking that and run with it further in terms of feeling like you not only are you going to a promotion, not only are you buying a ticket, but that it almost belongs to you. Like, it means something to you and you want to see it succeed and you want to see the wrestlers there. You want to go and see them get better and better as things go forward.
Yeah, the community is such a big part of it. I mean, we've got a group of people who came out to see us today.
Hello.
All these guys we met through 1PW. So they're lifelong friends that we made through going to watch the wrestling in Doncaster, for better or worse.
Yeah. So what have we learned from this? In terms of a do and do not. Do create a community, I think, is pretty straightforward, and I think, you know, obviously we've seen with Breed so far, that's what we feel like we're getting, and it's going further and further, and the more we can get that community in Sheffield, I think we all agree that's what we want, and that's what we want to happen. And don't forget to pay your bills.
Yeah.
Please don't forget to pay your bill. If you're going to book someone, make sure you can afford to book them, please.
Especially, don't pay half the roster, and then when the biggest member of your British talent comes into the room saying, sorry, we can't pay you, only for him to sit down in front of you and say, well, I'm not leaving until you pay me. Creating an awkward moment for the then runners and the guy who's now in WWE UK sat there going, I can sit here all night. Pay me.
I'm pretty confident you got paid, that's all I'm going to say.
Eventually, yeah.
But yeah, we wanted to sort of, you know, do something a little bit different in front of you guys and talk about some sort of our wrestling history of South Yorkshire and, you know, like I say, maybe controversial wrestling history of South Yorkshire, but we do hope, in all seriousness, I want to say thank you to Mitch and the rest of the Breed guys for inviting us here. I want to apologise for Daryl not being here, and we just hope things go from strength to strength as this journey sort of carries on with Breed Wrestling in Sheffield.
Build the scene.
Yeah, build the scene, absolutely. So that is it, right. That's it for the Royal Grumble, if you wouldn't mind. We do have a website, royalgrumble.co.uk, you can get the cheap plugs in now. If you wouldn't mind going there and subscribing to our podcast. And I want to say we're really pleased as well to be in present company of such great Sheffield-based wrestling podcasts. It's been really fantastic to learn about you, and I hope you've learned a little bit about us as well. And all that's left to say is, well, say goodbye, Dan.
Goodbye.
Say goodbye, Daryl. Thanks very much. Goodbye. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the all right. Oh, sorry, no, that's all right. Let's start. All right.
Thanks for staying.
So, my name is Neil. I'm one half of the Grandest podcast. For those of you who don't know us, we review WrestleMania on a bi-weekly basis. We started at number 1, which was interesting, and we're working through it. Our last episode was number 7. My co-host Chris is not able to join us today. He's not feeling too well. He's feeling really well.
So I'm going to do it.
Yeah, well, so 2 positives. 1, we've got Fraser.
Hey.
Hello. Secondly, I can sit here and tell you all, without any fear of backlash, that Rick Martel versus Jake Roberts in a blindfold match is one of the greatest masterpieces. He's going to see this and he's going to start. So because it's a bit of a last minute change, so we are doing something different to what we were originally going to get. We originally had planned, excuse me. So what we're just going to do is we're just going to talk about, because we're obviously all wrestling fans here today, and it's WrestleMania Sunday. I was not expecting to hear that big, that's good. But what does WrestleMania mean to us as fans? Because it's the 35th year. We've all grown up with it at different stages. We've all got our own WrestleMania memories. We're going to talk about not only what it means to us, but also as favourite moments as well. And if we've got time, maybe some of the moments that we have less fond memories of. We'll see how we go. So, what do you start, Fraser? What are your, as a fan, what does WrestleMania as a thing mean to you?
WrestleMania is essentially wrestling Christmas. I think we all agree with that. I think I've tweeted it maybe 2 or 3 times back before I wrestled that it's Christmas Day and it's Christmas for WrestleMania. It's the one thing that first got me into wrestling was I remember seeing, I think it was on Channel 4, they showed WrestleMania 2000 on some sort of replay. I'm fairly certain it might have been. but I didn't see it nodding, so yeah, it happened. I did just... Was it live? Yeah. Oh, I was way past my bedtime then.
That was before the old May Young thing, you know, with the...
We don't have to talk about it. I'm not going to cut you off, I've got to finish story now, I'll get to a minute, so go.
No, that's fine, then tell the story. I want to hear the story about
Okay, so
making food.
it's not about that.
Oh.
WrestleMania 2000. So back in the day, it was obviously year 2000. Technology wasn't at its peak as it is today. And so my mate asked me to take WrestleMania 16, WrestleMania 2000 for him. And back then, he didn't have a wrestling video. So he obviously... I mean, this is a good story to me.
Thanks, TK.
Sorry, what was... Anyway, back then he didn't have access to a long-play video player, so he couldn't play anything longer than 2 hours, 3 hours I think it was, and that was the first WrestleMania that we'd seen as fans growing up that ran over the 3 hour mark. So he's got a videotape of WrestleMania 2000 that ends halfway through the main event. I'm still not over it.
That's one of the best moments though, at the end of that main event when everyone's throwing rubbish in the ring. I remember being 9 years old and watching them going, oh, they're going to get in trouble. They'd be so mad.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I mean for me, Wrestling Christmas is probably the best phrase I can think of. That's better than any way I could put it. It's just a great event, a great weekend, especially nowadays with all the independent stuff that's been happening. We were talking about earlier, things we've been watching. I mean, we've seen some great stuff, we've seen some stuff that's not been so impressive either as well. You know, so there's a bit of something for everybody on it. It just seems to have grown, not only as an event, but also in the fact that it's now about 2 days long. Which is, it's as a first thought, it's good because you're like, oh, loads of wrestling, and then you're wondering if that was too much wrestling. Which sounds like a death thing to say, but it's a very real thing. So,
I was listening.
Oh, okay.
It's waiting my turn to talk. I'm waiting for a question.
Okay. So that's pretty much what it means to us as fans. I'm sure you've all got your own sort of thoughts, opinions, and all that stuff like that as well. But what we're going to talk about now for a little bit is moments in terms of like things that stand out when we think about WrestleMania. Like sort of our memories and what the favourite parts are. So I'll go first with this one. The first WrestleMania that I saw growing up was WrestleMania 15. Was Steve Austin versus The Rock. I forgot what the card my favourite example is. Steve Austin versus The Rock was the first one in the trilogy because they obviously did it 3 times. That's what trilogy is. I'm just talking shit now. That was just one of my favourite matches. It's a card that really sticks out for me as well because it has a lot of people I sort of consider as favourites growing up. People like Goldust, people like, I was a big Ken Shamrock fan. X-Pac, Triple H, The Undertaker. That was the one where The Undertaker hung the Big Boss Man, but we don't have to talk about that. But that's my personal favourite. It's one that I can go back to and watch and enjoy. And it's just really, not the best in terms of quality, but it's just really sentimental. Something I really enjoy watching. How about you?
My personal favourite one is WrestleMania 19. I don't think it gets. I like the setup of the thing being in a baseball stadium as well, and it's so different to every WrestleMania because you can go from the corner and an awkward little angle. You had Limp Bizkit perform. You had Nathan Jones. You had all the stuff that you want to see. Now WrestleMania 19 is the first one I remember because I remember being in. I think it was in Seattle, and. It was like our stupid o'clock in the morning, like 2 or 3 in the morning. I was 13, and I wasn't allowed to watch WrestleMania at that time, so I used to sneak down at like 1 o'clock in the morning. I remember moving all my sofas. Well, I say all that. I remember turning one of the sofas so it was like this close from the screen, putting my headphones in so nobody upstairs could listen, and I remember sitting there watching it. Like, I can't miss it. It's Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle. I can't miss this. And then to see Brock Lesnar climb to that top rope. And do a Mark Haskins, that's where I was. It's not Brock Lesnar to me, it's a Mark Haskins. And then do that, and then so that's my earliest like proper. I watched it from start to finish, and that's my favourite WrestleMania. I think it's vastly underrated.
No, I'll give it for me. I think that's a good one as well. So I did see a little, we were just talking about Brock Lesnar doing the shooting star press. There is a video clip that I saw like yesterday of him doing it and not fucking himself up, which was quite impressive. Yeah, so that's obviously a good segue into our next segment. I've no idea what I'm doing now. Yeah. So in terms of like memories, not memories, but moments, like so not specific, obviously your favourite WrestleMania was 19, but in terms of bits that you like when you think of WrestleMania, like images, like moments, are there any that sort of stand out to you in terms of when you think of WrestleMania? Obviously you think of WrestleMania 19, but like that's what WrestleMania is.
I think to me, like, a lot of people would agree that the big ones are WrestleMania 3 and Hogan Andre, but because I don't have that, because I'm younger, I don't have that personal attachment, so I don't remember really watching it in that, and I need to get this on VHS, and even now I don't really go back and watch a lot of the older WrestleManias, I'll be honest with you. But to me, like some of the key things for me, I remember vividly, I think it's, I say vividly, I just remember WrestleMania 2000, a glass, was it a jar of sweets being smashed over someone's head? That's the one thing I remember thinking, I remember watching it, I was like, oh, wrestling's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool, and the sweets as well. So, yeah, I remember that's one of my key things of those. And then I remember, like I said, like WrestleMania 19, Brock doing the jump, WrestleMania 20. Yeah, it's so key with that seeing all these people like inspired me personally, like the triangle matches, like WrestleMania 17 with the ladder matches with Edge, Christian. Jeff and Matt Hardy, all those guys, they're the ones that kind of like hooked me and sunk me in. So people talk about like more moments and everything, like on the previous podcast that we had here today, it's talk about moments. For me, a lot of the moments are matches as wholes. It's not necessarily like one key thing, but I remember matches as a key thing that I remember liking most.
I mean, that's absolutely important as well, because obviously, not just yourself, but we've got other guys in the crowd as well today who actually already made a career out of wrestling because of moments like that.
What sweets over there?
Sweets, that's a moment. I vividly remember those sweets overhead.
Some people do them spots in 1999.
Absolute psychopaths. No wonder they've got CTE.
But it's like you said, I'll come back to like individual like little moments, like going back to WrestleMania 15 with Brock and Austin for me. That was a big culmination of Austin chasing the title for 6 months, and he gets to finally gets to show WrestleMania, he got screwed out of the Rumble, he has to go through the cage to get to the WrestleMania, got thrown through the cage by the Big Show, and then he finally manages to win that cage match and get himself into that main event. And just like the opening moments of that match where he's pacing up and down in front of the Rock and Rock's getting in his face, and as a kid he's like, oh, I'm finally going to get into it, finally going to beat 10 bells out of each other. That's exactly what happened. And then you have like sort of like just those little like freeze frame moments like Hogan and Andre, Rock and Hogan as well, because that's one that a lot of people never really thought was ever going to happen, was ever possible at that point. The other one that sticks out for me was WrestleMania 28 with The Undertaker, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels. They come out of that Hell in a Cell match, and it's the billed as end of an era, last time ever. For 10 years till we did it all again anyway.
So that money came in.
It's what there. Little things like that, and just little standout moments, like Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania 26, the one where he finally loses to The Undertaker and retires. As a match, I prefer the first match, but I think the second one, because of what was online, told a better story. And that moment at the end where he slaps The Undertaker and The Undertaker just drops him on his head and ends his career. That's a lot more profound as a moment for me. Yeah, so there's little things like that. Any more that jump out for you?
Ricky Steamboat coming back against Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
That was one of my favourite moments. Because as I said, I didn't really watch a lot of older wrestling when I was growing up. I generally watched what was in front of me. And seeing Ricky Steamboat come back and these guys saying, oh, and then having that really good match and then going back and actually watching some Ricky Steamboat stuff, and I realised, actually, this guy's mid-50s and he's still moving like well, he moves better than I do. He's mid-50s. Yeah, I remember that. I remember thinking that was a really cool moment. And then I just remember when that was happening, really wanted Mickey Rourke to wrestle. And I don't know why. I really don't know why. I just think it'd be so cool to see Mickey Rourke wrestle.
I think that was the original plan as well. I think for whatever reason, I think he contractually wasn't allowed to do it. I think that's what they were trying to do. I think just like as well, there's other moments that sometimes sort of jump out as well. The ones that are like sort of like the oh my god sort of moments. So the most recent one, obviously, with the Hardy Boys returning a couple of years back. There's also obviously things like Shawn Michaels getting dropped by Mike Tyson, because that was great. And also just little things like as well, not little things, but something like the Heist of the Century, as it's called, with Seth Rollins cashing in money in the bank at the end of WrestleMania 31, stealing the title from Brock Lesnar. Yeah, so just like anything that like makes you jump out of your seat. We don't see too much of that, I don't think, these days. There's nothing that gets you invested. And that's what I was talking about this on our last episode actually. It's a hard one to get invested in this year's WrestleMania because they've not done, in my opinion, that great build up to it. The card they put on looks great, and I'm looking forward to that. But you've got to try and tell a story. You've got to try and invest the people in what you're selling and what you're putting on. And I don't know that I think a lot of people might turn off from that this year. But that's just my opinion.
I think the build-up with Kofi Kingston and Danny Bryan's one that's the one that's taking a lot of people's boxes at the moment. That's the one that people are looking for. They're looking for that probably inevitable Kofi win, let's face it. But the build-up to that, you just know you're going to have a really, really good match between two really, really good wrestlers. And I think the build-up, that's the main focus. And at the same time as well, you also have the Becky Lynch one as well. You have to remember this one's going to be the first WrestleMania. It's going to be headlined by 3 women wrestlers. This one is almost it. That's probably what's going to be mostly remembered about this WrestleMania as a whole. The build-up to that is Becky Lynch.
And I think that's obviously important. I think there's a lot of options that people aren't invested in. I think this is where I was talking to somebody about this earlier. It feels like they sometimes are necessarily trying to shoehorn people onto the card. But it's just something. It's like you said, it's Wrestling Christmas. It's just something for us all to try and enjoy. Try and be positive about it. Try and enjoy it. Shout out to anyone who's going to make it all the way through it live tonight. I'm debating whether I'm going to try it.
I mean, I'll try it, but I might be quite drunk actually. I'll probably be the one. There'll probably be wrestling in the background, and I'll just be in a drunken haze.
Right, well, I've run out of things to talk about. Thank you for your time, Fraser.
No problem. Thanks for having me, guys.
Alright guys, my name is Athers, in case you don't know. I've got a YouTube channel which started off with not many people subscribing to it, and now it has slightly more. I've also got a podcast that drops every Thursday on Hitting the Marks Pro Wrestling Podcast. So if you want to subscribe to that, cool. If you don't, I'm not your dad, it's up to you. Okay, we've got an interview segment now with Damon Moser and the Breed Pro Wrestling Champion, TK Cooper.
One of your beard hairs is on the mic. Do you want it back? It's one of your beard hairs. That's mine. Oh, hey, you need it.
Alright guys, thank you very much for joining me, taking time out of your busy schedule. Basically, I just want to do like a career retrospect that's kind of got you from your humble beginnings to where you are now. TK, let's start with you. Where did you begin training to be a professional wrestler?
Well, New Zealand.
Okay, cool. Do you want to expand on that, or?
No, that's the question.
Okay, cool. Damon?
South London.
Awesome. Great stuff. And how long have you two both been wrestling now?
So I started training in 2010, and then I started wrestling in 2011, so I guess like 7, 8 years-ish. I don't know, I wouldn't really count my wrestling in New Zealand as wrestling because I wrestled like once a month. And then it wasn't until I moved over here that I got any kind of like schedule existing. I just, so like technically, realistically, only like 3 years, but officially, secret 4 extra years.
What's the scene like in a...
It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Well, it didn't.
When I first started watching wrestling in New Zealand, there was two promotions. One in Auckland, where I'm from, and one in Wellington, which is arguably a similar drive between here and London, I guess. No, it's way further. It's like an 8-hour drive. What am I saying? Michael Cole, 3 hours, you know. Yeah. But ever since I left, I guess just because I blazed a trail, whatever. Me, Trav, etc. Everybody decided they wanted to be a wrestler in New Zealand too. So now there's like 10 or 11 promotions that exist because I don't know, just because. And obviously I haven't been home in time to be a part of any of it. But it's better than it was when I left. So that's good news. But like when I was coming up, there wasn't. You couldn't even call it a scene. There was two promotions. That's not.
Was there like rivalry between the two promotions, or?
There's too much space between the promotions to like keep up to date. Like we've only just got broadband in New Zealand. Sending like angry pigeons at each other.
And how about you, Damon? Where did you get your start?
A company called British Extreme Championship Wrestling, which I think is pretty much like a glorified backyard company. The ring was it was originally a boxing ring that had a spring added to it that kept locking, so I pretty much learned to bump in a boxing ring. It's fucking shit. Did that like 2012 in like February, and then the November 2012 is when the Projo opened, and then I went and Jimmy re-taught me everything that I'd spent all them months learning. Pretty much, and then I started wrestling, getting on shows in like 2014. That's when that endeavour started and stuff.
What was it like training under Jimmy?
Jim's lovely. It's intimidating at first because he's fucking got eyes of steel, but like he just wants you to get better. Like some people find it hard because they don't like being told that they're not good at something, but if you just get on with it, you'll get better. You know? He's not gonna mollycoddle you and say, "Oh, you get it next time." He's like, "That was shit. Do it again." Like, it's not harsh. It's just honest. So yeah, great. Enjoyed it.
How difficult was it for you, TK, leaving all your friends and family, coming over to a new country?
I kind of already made the decision like a year prior to moving over, so I'd already kind of put things in motion. I'd already like cried with my mom and said like, I'm gonna go, sorry. My friends and stuff were all kind of, well, because of wrestling, because once you get into wrestling, you have to drop everything else. So all of my friends were wrestlers who understood. I say wrestler like a wrestler. No one in New Zealand's really a wrestler. They're just people who like to do it on the weekend and then go do the rest of their lives in the week. But no, it wasn't hard. It just was what it was because that's what I wanted to do. So I'd already like accepted it in my own head that I had a dream and I was going to go chase it, and then that was it.
Both of you guys, obviously known for working in progress. Both of you guys suffered quite serious injuries while you were working in progress. Damon, I believe you broke your jaw.
Yeah, I was first. It was the first one. Blazed that trail of serious injuries, yeah.
And TK, you had a rather nasty incident in America?
Yeah. I mean, I guess the nastier incident is just being like labelled as being known for wrestling in progress. Because we wrestle other places, but for whatever reason, people only ever seem to blanket us with like, oh, the guy from Progress. Like,
the actual joke is, like, I haven't actually been on a chapter show in 2 years. Like, I've done like the pre-show at Wembley, which they got all people from like throughout their history, and I've done the pre-show Tetsujin match with Reddy, but that was through Tetsujin. That wasn't a Progress booking. So yeah, it still comes up. It's like I'm wrestling loads of places now.
Yeah, like obviously things have worked out, and like I'm back on Progress now. But prior to my return to Progress, I haven't been on Progress since like July last year. But anyway, broken leg. Yeah, so I broke my leg doing a sweet corkscrew off the top onto like a sweaty floor. Nobody caught me, and I broke my leg. And then I didn't wrestle for the rest of the year. And then that's the gist really. That's it.
Okay.
Do you just want the confirmation that I broke my leg? Because I know. You know.
Okay, sorry for bringing that up, guys. Let's move on to more happier times.
I got past it, don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk Brie. Let's talk the first show at the Abbeydale Road Picture House. Yeah, you came away with the big W. You got the belt.
2 W's actually.
Yeah, the tournament.
The dub. Quadruple W.
Good stuff. A lot of people seem to be questioning the means of which you won that title.
Do they?
Yeah.
They do under their breath, do they?
They're not going to say it to your face. That sounds Twitter.
Yeah, they'll angry thumbs. Yeah.
I mean, there was a little bit of controversy, the way that you won the title.
Oh,
so, yeah, I mean, do you think you would have been able to win it without the help of TK, your TK, sorry, without Mambo and Spike?
I hope so. Well, I guess we'll never know, will we?
Okay. I mean, to be fair though, a fatal 4-way, there are no rules, so I guess technically you did nothing wrong in that match.
Yep. I know that, that's why we did it.
Okay, moving on.
We can dwell on it if you want, if there's other things you want to talk about. If there's other people in the room that want to mutter something under their breath and say something, then they go for it.
No, not all.
I'm not trying to prod you, I'm not trying to upset you, I'm just saying.
No, and likewise, I'm not trying to annoy you or anything, I'm just good.
No moving mouse was it?
Thank you.
I was muttering.
Your last defence, that went well against Scotty Davis.
It sure did.
Again, I don't like bringing it up, but there was a little...
Why are you getting awkward? Why are you getting weird?
No, I'm just saying...
You're making everybody uncomfortable, Joe.
Some people may say there was
Who? Who are these people? Are they in the room? Are you one of the people?
Yeah, okay, me.
Oh, so it's just you. You're trying to put the blame on everybody else, but it's you.
No, okay.
You're saying things. You're trying to thinly veil your opinion as their opinion.
Okay, Joe.
What I'll say is... In the first match...
I might walk away too quick if you're going to come get me. Oh, dear. Oh, no. Not Joe.
All I'm saying is, without Spike and without Mambo, do you think that you'd be the current Brie Pro Wrestling champion?
Yes. Of course.
Okay.
I'm so much smarter than Scotty Davis. I'm so much bigger and stronger than Scotty Davis. Of course, I'd still be the champion.
So you've got no Spike and no Mambo today, and I noticed that you don't have a match. Is there any correlation with them not being here?
Why is that funny? Nothing's happened. There's been no punchline.
No, I'm just saying, they're not there.
I don't book the cards, Joe. I'm just the champ. I'm not in charge of Brie. I'm just the champ. I'm just the best in Brie. That's why I'm the champ.
Yeah, I mean...
Did you pick G Money? Was that you or was that the guy in front of you?
It was me.
What's in your box tonight? What's going on with that?
Can't say, man. Can't say. Legit, never been done before in wrestling.
Never?
Superstar.
I don't trust it.
Ever.
I don't trust it.
Legit.
And why are you putting it on the line? Where did you get it?
President of wrestling gave it me. The president of...
Why does he get an ooh? Why don't... Didn't you beat up Session? Did you beat Session Mafia?
Still match is still going
Still
on.
going.
I've just come back from New York for this.
Did you get her over there?
Tried to, threw her in Grand Canyon. No.
Unlucky, mate, unlucky. She's not on tonight, actually. So...
She's in the Grand Canyon.
Should have pinned her.
I'm not going down there, it's a big drop.
Should have pinned her first, then throw her.
Shit.
Oh, well, you
I
know.
like my knees too much.
Ifs and buts, no. Sorry, I'm just going to go back to my awkward conversation with Joe. Don't mind me. Don't mind me.
So, this is going great.
Have you got questions for Moser? Because this is very rude.
Yeah, I do apologise.
Put my mic down 3 times. I'm hoping you take a hint.
Don't patronise him. Oh my god. Don't pity him.
Yeah.
Socks week later.
You're getting quite the rep for being a bit of a deathmatch wrestler at the minute.
You maniac.
Yeah. Maniac.
Show him the cut. Show him the cut on your head.
Oh, the one that's just a little one, that's not me.
No, it was huge.
My cat is going wrong.
Yeah, that's like a shard of glass in his head the other week for Renegade Pro.
Yeah. bit much.
That doesn't get an ooh. That doesn't
I
get
don't
an
get an ooh. But G Money being all secret about his box gets an ooh.
Wow. Tell you, mate, legit, you gotta get excited for this. It's gonna change wrestling altogether.
Do you think you're going to win tonight?
I would not be putting this briefcase on the line if I did not think I
Because
was.
Sugar was on earlier and he was giving the big ones like he was going to win. I'm just. That's what I said.
Exactly. TK Cooper, quote.
Yeah, but if you want to bring it back, so I don't keep my mic down for the 5th time. Yeah, going into death matches from like the last year. Kind of a bit aroused by violence, not gonna lie.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's done it for Tom.
Does that make you hard to pin?
I mean, I'm not sexually aroused. It just gets the adrenaline up a bit quicker, get the jollies. Free drug, isn't it? Adrenaline.
If you could have a death match with anybody, like anywhere in the world, who would your like dream opponent be?
For a death match, Jimmy, definitely. We had a hardcore match once, but it was at a family show, so it was like a PG hardcore match. But yeah, proper death match.
Didn't you beat him by rolling him up through a table?
Roll up through a table. Best finish in hardcore history. Yeah. So Jimmy, definitely.
Cool, good stuff. TK, so you're here today with the title, not defending it, obviously.
Not my choice.
Well, you say that.
Things just work out in my favour. I'm just very lucky.
I mean, haven't you got like the stroke to kind of like lay out an open challenge or something?
There's already like 8 matches. I've seen the running order. There's potentially 10. Like, I'm not gonna force a limit. This isn't WrestleMania. We've already got like 2 days of WrestleMania after the show.
That's a very good point. It just, don't get me wrong. I mean, I think you're a great wrestler, and you know I'm not saying that just because you're here in front of me. You know that I'm a fan of yours. It's just the fact that you kind of seem to be hiding behind people, be it Spike, be it Mambo, and today you brought Damon with you.
He's bigger than me. He can't hide behind me.
I didn't bring him. I didn't organise this.
It just seems, you know, you just seem a lot better than this. I don't understand why you're like hiding.
You're right. I am better than this, but I choose not to be.
Right. This isn't going quite as well as I thought it would. So
We can talk about my match tonight instead of TK's non-match.
Yeah,
I'm just here to enjoy the show. You know.
Oh, got a little blue. Would that be the hybrid match?
Yeah, hybrid, shoot style, nothing.
This is just.
Are you going to go full Barnett Suzuki?
I've only seen pictures of Bloodsport, so probably not, but close enough. Who knows? But yeah, if you want to talk about like the spectrum of violence of death matches, shoot style is definitely on that spectrum as well. Hence why I like that. But yeah, it'll be fun. They all look excited. Look at them. Look, he smiled.
Excited.
Smile. I went to that WrestleMania actually.
Yeah, me too.
That's where you got the show, I imagine.
Yeah. I didn't buy one. I think it was like $50. I fucked that up.
Well, I think we're going to wrap up early.
Early?
Yeah.
You got somewhere to be, Joe?
Yeah, we all have. We're all going to go and watch the Breed Pro Wrestling Colossal Tussle, which...
Isn't this doors at 5?
I believe those are at 4, aren't
No,
they?
my match is at 5.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm prepping real hard.
Good luck to you. You need it.
I'd like to say thank you to all the other podcasts that have been here today. Graps and Claps, Grandest Stage, and Looking at the Lights, Staring at the Lights even. Apologies.
Is there anybody here now that just came to listen and isn't part of the podcast? Hey! Is there anybody
everybody else is just come here to listen to themselves talk.
I'm a part of a podcast, but it's not a wrestling podcast. I missed the memo.
Are you here by accident, or?
He just came to use the toilet.
I'm hold out for case of this establishment.
That's a shame.
Yep, Damon, best of luck with your match later on tonight. And thanks for coming, TK.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you got to say. We're finishing early because you ran out of things to ask.
Yeah.
Cool. Good use of your time, good use of our time, I suppose.
Yeah,
all right,
thanks everyone.
So now, before we close, now don't you dare clap. So what's the deal then? Everybody? So is everybody getting suspicious that I'm not defending tonight? Is that the thing? Is that the deal?
Yes.
Subtle nod from over there.
Do it. Defend it.
I would love to.
Do it.
But I don't know to.
Brilliant.
So, let's go camp show subs. Does everybody want to see me wrestle tonight? Come on. Everybody yell at your favorite wrestler on my next question. Who do you want to see me defend it against?
G-Money.
Well, I'm glad nobody else had an option, because I guess that's a done deal then. So everybody wants to see TK Cooper, the Breed Pro Wrestling, the Daddy of the North, take on G-Money. Well, I mean, if you win whatever the hell's in your briefcase, maybe I'll think about it.
All right. It's not what you think. It's not what you think.
No?
No.
What do you think I think it is?
Some sort of mechanical horse.
There is one at the saloon place over there, which I thought that's where this was going to be.
No, this is a much worse venue.
The pool table's not even available. I asked about it. It is. They advertise it at the front and you go and get a pool.
Can't get a ring in there either.
So anyway, I'm not going to be on the show, but I do have a private booth. Can you believe it? Yeah. How does that get a booth? The hybrid doesn't get a booth. Oh, come on! So inconsistent today. Is this what the crowd's going to be like, the show today?
Fucking hope not.
Oh my god, no wonder I'm not defending. I wouldn't want to defend in front of you people.
Well, you're not wrestling, so people might be actually entertained.
Drop the mic. He dropped the mic.
I mean, look where he is. He didn't drop the mic. He put it down.
Kick him down.
I don't need this. It's a champ, Tom. Thomas. Surname. Mic drop.
Don't expect. Yeah.
I wasn't going to do it. I'm not a renegade like this guy. Juvenile. I'm just going to go back to the walkabout because I don't want to be here anymore.
Don't hit with the title either.
Don't tell her. I'm going to go now. Thank you very much.
Bye. Bastard.
What a fucking cunt.
Thanks for having me, John.
Alright, mate.
Yeah, cheers, Dave.
I'm gonna probably go and calm him down.
Bye.